Drink water. Don't drink and drive.
Game over!
Take it light. Okay.
Now you're more fluent.
He got free!
Up, Bears.
So this is really good right here. Absolutely. Let's do it.
All right. Welcome to the All American Hoops Podcast, episode 32. Coming to you live from the Sports Fluent Media, whether you're watching from Facebook, Twitter, most recently LinkedIn, or the Sports Fluent Facebook. Okay, as mentioned, Facebook, there's another account as well. We got a great show ahead of us. It's been a while since I've actually worn a hat on this pod. It's in honor of the MLB All-Star Game tonight. It was been a few weeks since that. We don't talk about baseball a ton, but I'm just going to mention subtly that it's absolute BS that Francisco Lindor and Brandon Nimmo are not part of the All-Star Game, two of the best players in the National League. But I digress there. I do think I'm qualified to talk on the subject, but however, I know the viewers probably aren't too interested in hearing me rant about that, which I probably could go for 60 minutes on that. But as I mentioned, we got an awesome show ahead of us. We will be discussing a couple of things. So as per usual, Matt will be joining us, and we also have Drew from Pick a Side joining us as well, which he'll be the third Pick a Side member to join us because a couple months ago we had Dells and River join us as well. So we'll be talking about his Los Angeles Lakers. We'll be talking about Team USA and how they've been doing so far. They are 2-0 so far, and they had a pretty tight game yesterday. And after that, we will be doing in honor of Pick a Side. We will be having a Would You Rather game, which we are super psyched about. But that's it for me. That's it for me for now. But for now, this is the Our American Hoops Podcast. Welcome to the show. As per usual, I'm joined by my younger brother, Matt Driscoll.
Chris, it's always a pleasure to be on. Thank you for having me again. Just 1 second, I want to say I don't think your rant about Brandon Nimmo and Lindor not making the All-Star game went on long enough. It's absolute blasphemy. And I think we should do a show about that next week.
Maybe we will. We had Liam on to talk about the Yankees a little bit, so maybe we'll add on a segment a little once in a while, especially during this time of year. But also joining us is co-host of the Pick a Side podcast, Drew.
How you guys doing today? Let me say, Lindor 10,000% was the biggest snub for me in the National League. I know not many people are baseball fans. I think that's a tragedy. I think we need to bring baseball back. But Francisco Lindor has been arguably the best shortstop in the National League this season. Of course, can't say the AL because we got some dogs over there in the American League right now. But, I mean, you take out April, Lindor has been right up there with the best of them, and that's just the God's honest truth. But again, we're here to talk about basketball. Yeah. Let's not talk about the Mets. I'm a Yankee fan myself. I respect the game, and I respect good play, and the Mets have been playing some really good ball.
Yeah. Drew, I know that up until last night, I know that you're a baseball fan. So you're tweeting per Bobby Wood agenda, which I'm a big fan of Bobby Wood too.
That people say that all the time. They never really are sure that I'm a baseball fan, but baseball was my first love. Baseball was the sport that I played growing up. I played my entire life until, of course, I hit college. But yeah, baseball was number one, and the main reason why I'm such a sports fanatic. Baseball will always be in my heart to the day I die, for sure.
That's awesome. We won't disrespect you too much for being a Yankees fan, but however, at the very best, you'll be our second favorite Pick a Side guest because Dell is both the Mets fan and the Celtics fan. And so that's one thing that he'll always have the edge on you on. But we'll see how today goes, though.
Fair enough. I'll try my hardest to beat that mark.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah. All right. So, Drew, thanks so much for coming on. Both of us are a huge fan of your show, so
appreciate it.
So, as I mentioned, both Dells and River came on. We still haven't had Joel or
Joel or John.
John. Yeah, I don't know why I drew a blank there for a second. But both of them great ball nerds as well. So hopefully they can come on as well soon. But I'm not expecting you to give away any spoilers for those who haven't subscribed yet. But how did that one-on-one magic go between River and John?
It was good. It was everything I expected it to be, truthfully. It was entertaining. It was fun. It was funny, more importantly than anything. But I think the fans really got a good crack out of it. I think we did a great job of promotion. We really did a great job of drawing people over to our Patreon. That was really our main goal. but I give a lot of credit to Riv. I give a lot of credit to John. The two of them brought their A game, and they've done a great service to pick a side. And I hope that people decide to subscribe to that Patreon. It's only $1. So if people are really interested in watching that 1v1, you can go and find that at the Pick a Side podcast Patreon. But after we get off the show, I'll let you guys know who won if you haven't seen it already.
Okay. Again, no. Regardless of whether you tell us or not, I definitely want to tune in and see how it went. So yeah, it looks a lot of fun. But yeah, to move on. So the past couple of weeks we brought some fans on. Yeah, usually it's been either just me, John, our brother, and Matt. We talk about the Celtics a little bit. Past couple weeks we've had a Nets fan on. Last week we had a Thunder fan on, and this week we have a Lakers fan on. So we're super hyped to talk about our historical rivals, not so big rivals anymore. But yes, there's still always going to be that historical love between the Celtics and the Lakers. But Drew, I was just wondering, what are your takeaways on the Lakers offseason so far?
I'll say this. We didn't drastically improve, and I know that that's obviously going to hurt a lot of Laker fans, and me included. I would have loved to see us go be aggressive, go and potentially bring in a James Harden, maybe a KCP, more importantly than anyone. I would have loved KCP to come back to town. I would have loved for us to be the ones to be aggressive and go trade for Alex Caruso. I would have loved for us to go and bring in a big man, really, but none of those things happened. What our big moves were bringing in JJ Redick and essentially D'Angelo Russell accepting his player option. And, of course, drafting Dalton Connect. That was huge. I can't let that go unnoticed. Drafting Dalton Connect was a come-up for the Los Angeles Lakers at pick 17. He's been awesome in Summer League, looking like a steal already. That being said, I really want to see us be aggressive and trade for Wendell Carter Jr. If I could ask for anything, it would be for us to go and trade for Wendell, because at 17, I was praying that Khalil Ware would have fell to 17, but the Miami Heat went and swooped him in at 15. I thought it was a great pick for Miami, hurt Los Angeles Lakers, but we still got our own steal in our own right. But what we've always needed let me not say always, but what we've needed since the bubble, since 2021, has been a strong backup big. We have failed to give Anthony Davis that. He's playing out of position at the center position. He should be playing the power forward where we saw him in best in the world conversations. So that's really all I could ask for. But we got better marginally, but we got better because Darvin Ham's out and we have JJ Redick in. And it's just so easy to be better than what Darvin Ham was. Even if JJ has no experience as a head coach, I just believe in his basketball knowledge that he could come in and be more effective than what Darvin Ham was towards the end of our season last year.
Yeah, Drew, you made a lot of good points there. You talked about Dalton Connect. What a great pick. What a steal by the Lakers there. I had a future on Tennessee in the tournament this year, so I was a big fan. Tough one, but big fan of him this year. I think he fell because of his age. I think he was 5 years in college, if not maybe 4. I think it was 5 though. Mm-hmm. But that just means, the Celtics got a guy at 30 who was in college for 5 years as well. It just means like they could just be more NBA ready, and that's correct. Like a guy Lakers aren't. That's somebody that the Lakers are trying to do right now. They're trying to compete right now. At first, I did not like the JJ Redick hire. I said it on the pod, but the more I think about it, the more I hear stories about him. He's very analytical driven, as you saw on his podcast and when he was commentating and stuff. So I could see him, trusting the analytics. He's going to be very, very player friendly, being an ex-player himself. And I think anybody from Darvin Ham is an improvement. I think any of the three of us could have swooped in and coached the Lakers a little bit better than he did last year.
Yep.
But yeah, like you said, you want to be aggressive. Like every team wants to be aggressive. I think trading for Wendell Carter Jr. will be great. I don't know if he would start. Maybe he would be the 5 and move AD to the 4, or if he would come off the bench at the 5. I'm not really sure how the Lakers rotations would look, but that would be obviously a great pick. Give AD a little more comfort, a little more cushion there.
Drew, what do you think a trade for Wendell Carter Jr. would look like?
Any trade I draw for the Los Angeles Lakers gets scrutinized no matter what I do. But let's try and draw one up.
You have to. That goes with being a Lakers fan, just so you know. Like you could offer your 12th. You could offer your 12th man, whoever it is, for what, or not your 12th man. You could offer LeBron James for one of the guys. They'd say it's unfair. So
you're right. You're right. Yeah. But I will say it is a skill of mine, a talent, truthfully, drawing up bad trades and thinking that they're good, really convincing myself that they're good. But we're gonna try. If I had to say, I probably would throw in D'Angelo Russell in there because the Magic do need shooting. They do need spacing. They do need a true point guard that can not only score the basketball, but also play make. It's not a huge deal that he doesn't play high level defense because everything behind him is so great and so strong fundamentally and foundationally for the Orlando Magic. We'll give you D'Angelo Russell, and probably I'll throw in Jalen Hood-Schifino. Probably, I don't want to give a first-round pick, truthfully, because I know Wendell Carter does struggle with his injuries, but at the same time, I know our future first-round picks are going to be valuable because LeBron James is going to be 40 going into the season. Who knows what happens with Anthony Davis after LeBron does retire and or leaves the Los Angeles Lakers. So I want to hold on to 29. I want to hold on to 30. If I can give away seconds, I would love to do that. But really, the prize of the deal for the Magic would be a D'Angelo Russell with a potentially Jalen Hood-Schifino or a Gabe Vincent.
Yeah, that's not a terrible trade. It's just like the issue that fans have, and I'm not sure if front offices hear the same thing, but like they just hear the name Schifino, and then they think, oh, that's a nobody, and I haven't really watched him a ton, but they also hear D'Lo and say, oh, he's just really crap in the playoffs. Why would they go for that? But
You're right.
I think that D'Lo has become very underrated. I think not only has he become underrated, I feel like he's been underrated for the past year or so because he definitely has his moments, and I think that the chemistry between him and AD is very underrated. I think the pick and roll between the two of them
Sure.
is definitely quite fitting. There are definitely nights where he is that third option and not Reeves. I don't know if the two of them. I think the two of them are great fourth options. I don't know if either of them could be a third option on a championship team. But both of them are good fourth options, which raises the Lakers ceiling for sure. So I'm just so like that would be interesting for sure, but. So I guess I'll ask you this question first, and then then we can follow up with if the hypothetical where they do get Wendell Carter Jr. or like another piece.
Mm-hmm.
With this current roster that the Lakers have, what do you think their floor is, and what do you think their ceiling is?
I think our floor is a playoff team. I genuinely believe that regardless of what happens, we are going to be a playoff team. Last year, we drew the ultimate terrible stick of having to play the Denver Nuggets in the first round, who we all know, we all can agree, they just have our number. They just are built perfectly to handle what we are, and we don't have any secondary options outside of LeBron James and Anthony Davis that can win on a consistent basis. And on the defensive side, as great as Anthony Davis is, he cannot hold Nikola Jokic, not even a little bit. No one can, to be fair, but at the same time, it does not matter. Nikola Jokic is such a mismatch. And then you have nights where Jamal Murray now in the fourth quarter can't miss. MPJ suddenly becomes the second coming of Jesus Christ when he's playing against the Los Angeles Lakers. I think our floor is a playoff team. I think our ceiling is a championship, going to the championship, not winning. I don't know if we'll match up that well against Boston, truthfully. I just think that they're such a stacked team. But LeBron, he just strikes fear into those Boston players' hearts. Who knows if that just mentality kind of shifts. But I have to respect the reigning champions. You get over the hump now. There's nobody that you feel like you shouldn't beat. But realistically, I look at Thunder. I look at the Nuggets. These are two teams that I feel like we're going to have difficulty with this upcoming season. Last season, I would have said if we saw the Oklahoma City Thunder in round one, we were handling them. They did not have an answer for Anthony Davis. They had no backup protection for Chet Holmgren. That was going to be food. No doubt. I had no worry about that. But always, Denver, I feared. This year with the Thunder, they have Isaiah Hartenstein. Now they have some back protection for Chet Holmgren. If Chet Holmgren wants to be the roamer and you put Isaiah Hartenstein to play one-on-one with AD, that's going to be very nice. And then, of course, Alex Caruso, who I don't know if you guys listen. I love Alex Caruso like a brother. To me, I think he's the best perimeter defender in the league outside of a Drew Holiday. He can switch 1 through 5. He can shoot the basketball. He can handle the basketball. They got an awesome player. I can't emphasize that enough. I think the Thunder are a near perfect team. To me, this is the favorite to come out of the Western Conference, but I can't leave Anthony Davis and LeBron James without any credit or any respect. I always give them the benefit of the doubt that they can go into any series and win, but you need those secondary guys to really show out, and that's where my fear becomes with the Lakers.
Yeah. Sorry, Chris. Is it? Should I give my?
No, go ahead. Yeah, go, Matt. Yeah, absolutely.
Drew, you're really not going to like this. I do not know if the Lakers are going to win a playoff series next year. I hate to do it to you, but
who are we playing?
It depends. Like, I don't think they could beat. You mentioned the Thunder.
Agreed.
The Thunder's problem was that they didn't have a true five. They went out and got it, and then they traded Josh Giddey, who ended up cooking Team USA the other day. But
Max.
Josh Giddey for Caruso without any picks, like that's a steal for the Thunder. I think they're the favorites to come out of the West. I do agree with you there. Like you said, they match up horribly against the Nuggets. The Nuggets kind of have their number. Even though the Nuggets did get worse, I still think the Nuggets handle them in a playoff series. I don't think they beat the Timberwolves, and I don't think they beat the Mavericks either. And I think those are going to be the top 4 seeds. So, I mean, it is tough counting out LeBron and AD, but I'm going to do it just because the West is so stacked.
I respect that. To me, the Mavericks, I think that the Lakers still can match up well against them. And in a playoff setting, I like our chances against the Mavs. Minnesota's interesting. They do have Rudy Gobert, Naz Reid, and Karl Anthony Towns. That combination of that trio of big men is going to be difficult for the Los Angeles Lakers to handle. But again, the Nuggets, I'm cautiously, I emphasize that word so much, optimistic, because we did have a lead in every game that we did play against them in this series.
Yep.
We lost 4 games to 1. They handled us. They went up 3-0. Fair. We were up double digits in 3 of those games. There's no excuse why we should have lost the way that we did. Again, you mentioned it. They got worse. We didn't get drastically better, but we do have a different coach. I wonder if that could be a difference maker for us. So I understand where your head's at, and honestly, you're not too far off. Honestly, you're pretty spot on, but again, as a Laker fan, all I have in this life is a little bit of hope in.
Yeah, I don't blame you. I don't blame you.
Yeah.
Really
So, yeah, I don't necessarily disagree with anything being said. I guess that, all the teams out west that have the potential to either make a conference finals or finals. So obviously the Thunder, obviously the Wolves, the Nuggets are obvious. The Mavs have a chance, but I've been on record and I tweeted it out yesterday. I've said it on the pod a couple weeks. I think there's a better chance that the Mavs lose in the first round than making it back to the conference finals.
You're cooking.
Yeah, their perimeter defense.
I do not believe in Klay Thompson at all at this point in his career, especially when he's going to be playing small forward, which he played small forward last year too, and they played small forward and they were the 10 seed. So it's not even. Again, I'm not saying he was the main reason they lost, but I think their defense is bad enough, and they're adding Klay Thompson.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah, so I don't know. Yeah, there is absolutely a world where the Lakers beat the Mavs in the playoff series, especially especially, and people are forgetting that Kyrie Irving is still in the locker room, which Kyrie Irving, God love him. There was always the chance that the locker room blows up in the chance that he's there. So, after that, Jeremy, if I'm mistaken, I'm pretty sure you're a big Grizzlies guy as well. I believe in the Grizzlies too. I think they can absolutely be a top 3 seed if things work out. I'll be rooting for them. I'll be rooting for Marcus Smart as always. But we'll definitely see. So I don't know. I don't know if there's a world where the Lakers make the conference finals. There is a world where if matchups work out, they can definitely win at least one playoff series.
That's fair enough.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I guess before I go into the next question about the Lakers, the only one concern that I see about JJ Redick is when he said I'm a bit of a sicko, which, no offense, I feel like he's trying to be a little too much like our guy Joe Mazzulla right there. I don't know if that's him trying to fit into the guys, or if it's or if he's just trying to fire someone up. But I don't know. Maybe he's a bit of a sicko, and he's actually right. But so I guess just the last question is who, besides LeBron and AD, because they're going to do what they were going to do. If they stay healthy, they're going to be whoever they want to be. Besides the two of them, who will be the X factor for the Lakers this year?
That's always a tough question for me to answer, because you look at what we've needed, especially this season, it's been that point of attack defender. And our point of attack defender the season prior was Jared Vanderbilt. He got played off the court because he couldn't knock down open jump shots because defenses weren't respecting him whatsoever, rightfully so. Last year, we needed him pretty terribly. He never came to our rescue, of course, because of the injuries, and we never really had that true point of attack defender. Our point of attack defender ended up becoming Austin Reeves, and how unfair of that is that to him, where he has to not only be our secondary ball handler, he has to, in some moments, be our secondary scorer, and then on top of it now has to be our primary defender on the main ball handler on the perimeter. I think that Austin Reeves has a terribly unfair job, but the X factor to me probably becomes a Jared Vanderbilt, but that's really it's a lame answer, and it kind of speaks to the landscape of the Los Angeles Lakers. I want to say the genuine X factor for the Los Angeles Lakers is JJ Redick. What are you going to do for us as a head coach that Darvin Ham wasn't? To me, what comes to mind very easily is rotations. In the playoffs, you did a terrible job of rotations. 2, what are you going to do to draw up plays to get Anthony Davis the ball late in games? We saw in that Nuggets series where they have 3 bodies on Anthony Davis from time to time. They're doubling Anthony Davis religiously because they're not respecting Rui, they're not respecting D'Lo, and they're to a degree not respecting Austin Reeves because he's gassed on the defensive side when he comes over to play offense. So what are you going to do to draw up plays to scheme guys open and really take advantage of mismatches? So that's really what it comes down to. JJ was our big move this offseason. To me, the X factor has to be the head coach because I put a lot of blame on this loss versus the Nuggets on Darvin Ham. So I have to stay consistent here. My X factor is going to be JJ.
I think that's a great answer. I wasn't even, whenever people say X factor, I always think of players. I mean, that's a great analysis too. I do think sometimes coaches do get a little too much of the blame, but with Darvin Ham, I didn't think so. I mean, I think he just wasn't. Maybe he's a better assistant coach in Milwaukee, but he was not. I don't think he was a great head coach. My X factor, we mentioned him earlier. He might be involved in a trade. It's kind of sort of an obvious choice, but it's D'Angelo Russell. I just looked it up. He shot 38.4% from the field in the playoffs last year. If you're going to be sometimes he was the third option to score. Sometimes he was the fourth. You got to be able to hit your open shots, especially if you're playing with LeBron James. You got to be able to hit your open threes. I think he shot 31% from 3 in the playoffs. Chris, you said he's underrated. He could be very, very good in the regular season, but he's got to step it up in the playoffs, and that's where it matters. He's got to be able to hit his open shots, and he's got to be able to defend in the playoffs.
Agreed. JJ's a great answer. I think both D'Lo and Reeves are great answers. As I mentioned, I don't know if the 2 of them are good enough to be third options. Unless you have like a super deep team, which the Lakers have a good team, but I wouldn't consider their depth as part of their strength. So yeah, it definitely will be interesting to see what how JJ Redick jumps right in. He's going to have to make adjustments. He's going to have to build a culture. Like obviously he has that respect from LeBron. I'm sure he has it from AD as well. And we'll see what happens when everything hits the ceiling. So great talk. So moving on to from the Lakers, obviously it's July, so Olympics basketball has started. Team USA has officially played in 2 games, and it's funny because last week when we discussed, it was the same day that it was announced that Kawhi Leonard was resigning from from Team USA.
Heartbreaking.
Yeah, massively. And then the Clippers came out yesterday and said they're disappointed with the way they handled it. If I was the Clippers, I'd be thrilled that he's not playing for the Olympics. So I'm sure they're just trying to. I don't know if that's press or something, but I don't know what their issue is there. But we'll talk about the whole situation after that, which happened with Jaylen Brown. Which, Drew, if I'm being honest, one thing that I was not expecting to happen on this podcast was Matt and I are two of, if not the biggest Celtics fans. It's not only Celtics fans, but Jaylen Brown defenders here. Never did I think we'd be inviting a Lakers fan on, and we wouldn't be the biggest Jaylen Brown fans on the panel. For those of you who haven't seen Pick a Side, Drew does believe that Jaylen Brown is the best shooting guard in the league, which is a super base take.
Listen, Jaylen Brown's been my guy, and one of my entrances into me feeling like I know basketball. For years, I've called Jaylen Brown the best number 2 in basketball. Better than Kyrie Irving, better than Jamal Murray. I think that nobody has done a greater job of really taking control of their role than Jaylen Brown. You talk about what the NBA has grown into. You want more wings on your team. He's a versatile wing now because he can guard that 2 to 4. He's strong. He has unbelievable athleticism. He has great active hands. He's also a good shot blocker too. He also has become an awesome offensive scorer. Not a great playmaker, still has his ways to improve there, although we saw it marginally this playoff run, this entire postseason, where I feel like Kristaps Porzingis really did a great job of helping him develop that part of his game. The 2 of them really had a strong connection this season. Unfortunately, KP, of course, wasn't able to stay healthy for the entirety of the postseason, but late in games, We saw Jason Tatum defer to Jaylen Brown. And that's all I needed to see to know who really was the guy on the Boston Celtics. Now, I know Jason Tatum is your playmaker. He has the responsibility of also having to be that roamer, be that rim protector, now playing defense on Lively in the playoffs. That was very, very underappreciated when talking about Jason Tatum. But he was wildly inefficient as a scorer. He had the most shot attempts. He was trying to score the basketball. So it's not like he was just okay with deferring and not getting his. He was actively trying to score. He simply couldn't. Jaylen Brown in the first 3 games was extremely efficient, shot over 50% from the field. It wasn't a great three-point shooter, but it was obvious after the first 3 games who the finals MVP was. Games 4 and 5 try to skew people's idea of it. Jaylen Brown, everyone likes to talk about these guys being number ones and winning a championship. Devin Booker, Anthony Edwards, who I feel like is the most possible of these guys, Donovan Mitchell. Jaylen Brown actually went and did it. He actually went out there and as the number one, won the championship with the Boston Celtics. Boston Celtics are a stacked roster, but again, Jaylen Brown did his part. And on the defensive side, we haven't seen anybody do that good of a job on Luka Doncic really ever. Maybe Lou Dort. I'll give Lou Dort some credit. He was awesome against OKC. In that OKC series versus the Mavericks. But Jaylen Brown in the biggest series of his career, especially after last year when the Miami Heat series happened and he had the whole meltdown. Oh, he can't go left. His left hand's trash. He can't dribble with his left. He went and shut everybody up this season, was in the lab working on his game, and he was near flawless this entire run. Eastern Conference MVP, Finals MVP. Jaylen Brown getting left off of Team USA is an absolute tragedy. This whole Nike Adidas nonsense is irrelevant to me. I respect Derek White. I've been a fan of his. I think he's arguably the best role player, top 3 role player in the association, but he's not Jaylen Brown. We all know that. We all understand that. As defenders, it's marginal. Maybe you'll take a Derek White because that's his job. That's his assignment. But as an offensive player, it's not even a question. And when you put both of those together, you get Jaylen Brown.
I will always sorry, Chris, go ahead.
Drew, I want to say you might want to calm down a little bit just because you're making me want to run through a wall with the amount of Jaylen Brown prop that I'm hearing. So I do really appreciate that. But Matt, go ahead.
Yeah, Jaylen Brown is an absolute dog. I was laughed at in May of 2024, this year, for saying that Jaylen Brown was the best shooting guard in the league, and then he went out and won Conference Finals MVP and Finals MVP.
Legend.
He's shut everybody up. We've been fans of him since he's been drafted. It's just awesome to see. But yeah, about Team USA, Jaylen Brown is not afraid of you or your resources. So I'm shocked that he was left off. It's a real shame, but if anyone was going to take the spot that wasn't Jaylen Brown, I'm happy it's Derek White.
I respect that.
Only thing I'll say about Jaylen Brown is, someone was messing around because after the whole incident yesterday when he was talking to his girlfriend and Angela Reese about
that was distasteful.
Yeah. I know. Yeah, about Bronny. And it was hilarious about like how Jaylen sent a follow-up tweet clarifying about what he had to say and everything. And then someone says, "Wow, is Jaylen really afraid of LeBron? But he's not afraid to speak out against the biggest shoe brand ever." so yeah, maybe Drew, maybe you got something cooking when you said LeBron has something in the Celtics mindset. So yeah, I don't know.
Does.
Yeah. So but now to talk about the actual basketball side of it. So I watched both games 1 and 2 against Canada and Australia. Now I feel like it happens every year where I shouldn't say every year. It's only been the past 2 years.
No, what you mean USA basketball. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The past 2 seasons I want to say where USA has struggled a little bit chemistry wise. I was expecting that in 2021, given that we didn't really have our A game. Obviously Jason Tatum was borderline top. He was borderline top 10 at the time. KD was obviously one of the best. I thought he was the best player in the league at the time, and just Dame, Booker. So obviously those are some of those were fantastic players, but they're not really the best players in the world. And this year, they don't have the top 3 or 4 best. They don't obviously don't have Giannis, Jokic, or Luka or Shea. But still, they brought in all the best American talent. So I really didn't think they would struggle chemistry wise going into it. But they've struggled a little bit, which obviously I'm not asking them to click right away, but I'm not crazy concerned about the idea of them losing to either Canada or France. I guess those are the 2 teams that they would struggle the most against. But Matt, what are your takeaways on what either Team USA needs to improve on, or if there's anything that or if there are any concerns on your end?
So I have to admit, I did not watch the game live. I just watched the highlights and I read a couple articles about it. But it seemed like USA turned the ball over a lot. I think it was 15 times or something, and the game's only 40 minutes, so shorter than NBA game.
Yeah, 18 turnovers from the United States.
18, geez, it wasn't even 15. Yeah, that's a lot in an NBA game. Like that's eight less minutes. Like you said, Chris, it's going to take a second for chemistry wise. I think no matter, like, this just shows you how, like, making a team is tough. Like, creating a team is tough. You could have the best players in the world, and it still takes a couple games to mesh. But Josh Giddey and Jock Landale were kind of cooking us a little bit. But I think, it's just exposition games. So I think once medal play starts, they're definitely step it up. But I mean, Curry, I'm looking at the box score now. Curry went 1 of 6. I don't think that's going to happen a ton. Everyone else kind of played very well. I mean, AD came off the bench. I don't know if they're going to move him to be a starter, but he was the reason USA won that game. He was awesome. Obviously, great play from our boy Jason Tatum as well. But yeah, I mean, it's just going to take, I think by next game, the chemistry will be up. They have more time to practice and everything like that, but it's just going to take a couple games.
To me, I really don't worry about Team USA, especially turning over the basketball. What I see and what I'm just going off of is they're playing very loose because they know that they're the best group of players in the world, and they're just having too much fun out there. We saw it against Canada in that first quarter where it was a close game because USA was turning the ball over, because they're playing too lackadaisical. Joel Embiid also really has not been good either of these two games. Anthony Davis has by far and away been the best player, particularly in the front court. As a shot blocker, as a scorer, he's been awesome. Give a lot of credit to Anthony Edwards also. Came out really hot in this first quarter versus Australia. Definitely cooled off towards the end of the game. But at the same time, Anthony Davis has been phenomenal as a shot blocker, as just a pure defender, roamer. That combination of Bam and Anthony Davis, it makes it very easy for AD to play defense. Similar with Bam. Bam says it himself. I'm thrilled to play in a front court with Anthony Davis because I know I have backside help. And of course, Anthony Davis feels the same way. Both of these guys go through the same hardships on each of their individual teams where they do not have backup bigs that they can play that roamer and really have the level of success that we know that they can have. But I'm not worried about it. The showcase is just to kind of get in the swing of things, just to gain a little bit of team chemistry. But the highs of this Team USA that we've seen in these two games have been so smooth. I mean, that block that you have against Canada by LeBron going the other way, you have Tyrese outlet it to Joel Embiid. Joel Embiid with a nice no-look pass to Devin Booker. Devin Booker all net. It's just going to be such a beautiful brand of basketball that we get to see from Team USA. I'm not overthinking this game versus Australia. The only way that Team USA loses is if they take their opponents lightly and they don't give 100% effort. I don't see that happening, especially in the Olympics. But in the showcase, that can always happen because end result really does not matter. This is solely exhibition, trying to put your best foot forward to get ready for the real competition that is the Olympics.
Absolutely. And yeah, obviously, Steve Kerr is obviously just like working with what he has, like all the information he's making, all the rotations that he can. And he's getting crucified for saying like, oh, what the hell is he doing? Like, what moves is he making? He's just experimenting. It's not, as you said, it's not that deep with everything going on. But yeah, I am interested to see how we what exact starting line should be built. And we did this last week where we talked about what we think like the best, what should be like either the starting or I guess the closing rotation should be in tight games. Matt, if I'm mistaken, did you have Vance in your closing in your line last week? I don't think you did you?
No, I didn't. I said it would make most sense. It would make the most sense if he was playing the two, but then I wanted to have KD, LeBron, and Tatum on the same 5. So I had Curry, Tatum, KD, LeBron, and I said Embiid, but I mean, a couple games. I mean, you said it. I mean, AD's been the best player, so I would put AD at the 5.
Yeah, it's so much fun that we could see with these 5-man rotations. I mean, you have
Okay. Yeah, I don't know if you cut out there.
All right, we're here. Sorry, y'all.
No, you're good.
Uh,
Yeah.
All right, but it's so much fun that we can have with these 5-man rotations. Seeing Curry, seeing KD, LeBron, AD, either it's AD or MB, but of course, like we just said, I'm going with Anthony Davis right now. He just fits so much better with what we have going on right now. But then, of course, whether it's Tatum, whether it's Anthony Edwards, if Anthony Edwards is going to continue to play the way that he has so far in these first 2 games, I'm fine with either or. I'm a Tatum guy over Anthony Edwards because you have the fact that Tatum can be a playmaker, is a great defender in his own right, great rebounder also. I think that would be my lineup, but either which way you shake it, again, we have such a luxury of having just unbelievable talent on this team. But KD didn't even play against Team Australia, and we were still able to come away with the W. So again, it's going to be so much more entertaining, so much more fun, so much more serious when we get into the Olympics, because we really will see this team at its full form.
And I realized that last week, like when I said last week about how we talked about Jaylen Brown or like being a replacement, when I said it was Kawhi, I was actually mistaken. It was when we were talking about if KD is gonna end up stepping out. But I don't know if that's on the table or not. Calf strains are, like as we mentioned, are pretty risky to play on. But I don't know if he's just gonna take a cool or whatever. But yeah, I'm pretty sure that the same, I know that at the same line as Matt. It was Curry, Tatum, LeBron, KD, and Embiid. But I did, however, mention that it would have been cool to have Kawhi on the Knicks instead of Tatum, because like those 5 guys are debatably the 5 best players of the 2010s. So that would have been
sure.
That would have been really cool to see. I also mentioned that I would go in blacktop mode and play up against those 5 guys in Hall of Fame mode to see if I was able to take them down.
Point.
Exactly. Yeah. It didn't win a ton, honestly, on Hall of Fame mode. Yeah, so I just step it down to either superstar or all-star version, depending on my type of nights. But yeah, before we move on to the next topic of USA, which we don't have a ton to talk about regarding it, one thing I love to do on the show is actually break very minor news. So very minor news. Drew, are you familiar with Lindsey Harding from the Sacramento Kings?
Yes.
Yeah, she has agreed to become an assistant with the Los Angeles Lakers.
Love that.
Yes.
All right, good for her. Let's go.
Harding leaving the Kings to rejoin JJ Redick, whom she spent time with on the Sixers staff and as a Duke All-American. So that is pretty cool. Yeah, absolutely.
Let's go. A little inclusivity with the Los Angeles Lakers. That's what we're all about.
Absolutely. Yeah. So Woj just reported that 2 minutes ago. It's funny. Like, I've broken some news before. Broken news. It's obviously like we got 2 people watching now, but it's been I did actually when Tyrese Maxey won Most Improved Player, and then I also did it when Kawhi Leonard was announced, which obviously not anymore to be announced on the USA team. So we love doing that on this pod. We released all the takeaways for Canada and Australia. Drew, like, are there any teams that you think not take down USA, but any teams that you think can give USA a run for their money?
No team really puts fear in my heart. The only team that I will acknowledge is that if they do play at 100, let me say 2 teams. I think at 100, I respect Team Canada. You have SGA, you have Jamal Murray. Those 2 are great on the perimeter. That could really give difficulty to Team USA, but at the same time, Drew Holiday being on the roster kind of shuts down any real fear that I have on the perimeter. But other than that, you have to respect France for the fact that Victor Wembanyama is just a generational talent. He really is going to put that best foot forward. But truthfully, the answer is no. I'm not worried about anyone. But if I had to give some respect to anyone, I'd give respect to Canada and France. But Team USA really should glide to a gold medal, and they should be the world champions, the way that Noah Lyles was trying to call them out for, the reason why we put this super team together. I think that's what I'm anticipating, and that's what I'm expecting. This Team USA is just so much better than every other country that I really don't have any worry that we can get this done.
Yeah, I totally agree. The France front court of Gobert and Wembanyama with no 3 seconds is insane. The rim protection is crazy. But also Canada, we talked about it last week, RJ Barrett, Jamal Murray, SGA, Dylan Brooks. But yeah, nobody's really a threat, but those 2 teams are probably the biggest threats.
Noah Lyles knew exactly what he was doing. He wanted to see, he wanted to see some. I don't know his mindset. I don't know if he's a big basketball fan at all, actually. But it wouldn't surprise me at all if that was that were his intentions. Good stuff. So, in honor of having a pick a side member on, one thing that they revolutionized is the game Would You Rather, which when we had Dells and Rip on last, we did a Would You Rather for Victor Wembanyama, and the very first episode that was live streamed under Sports Fluent, it was episode 11. Me, John, and our friend Pete, we did a Would You Rather for Luka Doncic. So, in honor of both pick a side and a Lakers fan on the panel, we will be doing a Would You Rather for Anthony Davis, which I'm happy that we brought up AD earlier because we were talking about rotations and everything. But this isn't going to be for Team USA. This is just going to be building around. We're not going to do building around. We're just going to do who would you rather have in general, whether it's when you're competing for a championship, it could be either building around or just someone you'd rather have on your team. So these are always I know that Joel is usually the one doing it for you, but I feel like these are always tough because you don't know who to start with and everything. But however, I will be starting. Would you rather Anthony Davis or Kevin Durant?
In 2024, I would rather Anthony Davis. He's a better defender. He's not a better offensive player, but he can win in multiple ways offensively. He's a decent playmaker for a big man. And on the defensive side, he's such a game changer that I'm going Anthony Davis in 2024.
It's a very tough one. AD played a lot of games last year. Kevin Durant did not. So
fact.
I don't know. I feel like Kevin Durant's been getting a little disrespected recently, but I don't think it's disrespectful to say against Anthony Davis. I'm going to go Kevin Durant.
I'm going to go Kevin Durant too. I feel as great as AD is, I do feel like that KD is a slightly better floor and ceiling raiser. So very, very close there. Would you rather AD or Kawhi Leonard?
I'm going for Anthony Davis. He's more available. That's really what it comes down to. If they're at 100%, I respect Kawhi Leonard. That's an all-time great in this game. He's a top 30 all-time player. I could really make the argument he's a top 25 player all-time, truthfully. He is unbelievable when he's healthy. But I always have to say when he's healthy. Mm-hmm. These last two seasons, Anthony Davis has been really healthy. I'm going with AD.
I totally agree. I'm going with AD. Best ability is availability.
I'm going with AD as well. Kawhi Leonard. People say like the last two seasons, the Kawhi Leonard has not finished the season with this team in the last 4 seasons. And that's including 2022 when he didn't play a single game. And then 2020, obviously, he had that 3-1 collapse. So we did Kawhi. Would you rather Anthony Davis or Steph Curry?
I respect Steph. I'd rather Steph Curry.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Steph's still better than KD, and I said KD over AD, so I'm going to go Steph.
Yeah, I'm going to go Steph too. However, Steph did take a step back in a few ways. His efficiency from 2-point range dipped. Even though his defensive effort isn't really gone, but his positioning has been a little off, and obviously just he has slowed down a little bit physically. He's stronger, which has helped him, but still, I guess I'll lean Steph, but definitely going to monitor it this year. Definitely, maybe by All-Star break, I'll be saying AD. Anthony Davis or Luka Doncic?
Luka. Luka's a top 2, top 3 player in the world at absolute worst. As I may not be the hugest Luka Doncic fan, I respect his game.
Probably the best scorer in the league. I'm going to go with Luka too.
Luka or Shai Gilgeous-Alexander? Okay, wait, no, sorry, AD or Luka or Shai Gilgeous-Alexander?
I'll go SGA also. I think SGA is a top 5 player in the world. You can make the argument that he could be a top 3 player in the world, truthfully. But I think when it comes to him and Anthony Davis, offensively, it's drastic. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is one of the best offensive players in this league. And then defensively, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is one of the better two-way players, especially for being one of the more elite level players in the game. I'll go SGA.
Yeah, I don't know if he's top 5, but I do agree. I think SGA is over AD.
So we have 6 more names left, and all these should be relatively interesting. Actually, this one shouldn't be that interesting. Devin Booker.
If you would have asked me this last year, I would have said Devin Booker. But after this season, I'm going with Anthony Davis. Again, defensively, he's such a game changer. And offensively, when Anthony Davis wants to score the basketball, he can give you 28 to 30 points every single night. I do believe that firmly.
Yeah, I'm taking AD.
Yeah, me too. I'm actually going to add a name to this. How about Donovan Mitchell?
I'm going with Anthony Davis. Donovan Mitchell is amazing, though, and I think he's becoming one of the more underrated players in the game, especially after this series versus the Boston Celtics. Sucks that he got hurt. I would have loved to see him finish it out. Probably would have lost regardless, but with the effort he was putting forth, it just would have been great to see him just continue to go off and show that somebody actually can be dominant versus this Boston Celtics defense. But other than that, I'm going with Anthony Davis. Again, the two-way ability is really up there with maybe only Giannis, and really upcoming now, I got to respect Victor Wembanyama.
Yeah, I hate picking against a Mets fan, but I'm going to go with AD too.
That's a great one. This is projected next year again. John Morant.
Damn. I'm taking AD over a lot of great guys. And I think John Morant also has become underrated because he did not play this past season, or obviously he didn't play a lot because he only played 4 games, whatever it was, only played that handful. But regardless, I think John Morant's an excellent player. But again, who would I rather have on my team? A defensive anchor who can give me 25 to 28 points per game. I'm going AD.
Anthony Edwards.
I'd rather Ant-Man. I think Ant-Man is just an unbelievable player. He brings a different type of energy.
Yeah, I'm going with that.
I'm actually going Anthony Davis. And I'm someone who's been very high. I've been someone who's very critical of Anthony Edwards, and part of that is just because of overall track record, which I do tend to underrate some of the younger guys. But yeah, I'm going Anthony Davis for now. Maybe end of next year I'll be taking Ant-Man. I'm staying with I'm going with Anthony Davis.
Let me also say this: my internet connection crapped out as I took someone over Anthony Davis. So maybe God was telling me something. Maybe God was saying, "Hey, AD over everyone."
4 more. So Jaylen Brown.
I'm going Anthony Davis. I love Jaylen Brown. I'm sorry, I really do, but I'm going with Anthony Davis.
Best shooting guard in the league. I'm taking Jaylen Brown.
I respect that.
I'm also taking Jaylen Brown. Can't really go wrong with either one there. Jason Tatum.
I'll go with Jason Tatum. I respect the fact that Jason Tatum went through a lot of criticism, but always stayed the course, is now a champion. Even though I am critical of him now, there was once a time where I did feel he had the potential of becoming the best player in the National Basketball Association. I did believe that. But after seeing this playoff run, the fact they were still able to reach the mountaintop and he wasn't the best version of himself, I feel slighted. The fan that I once was of Jason Tatum, there's a part of me that does feel slighted, but also understands he had to sacrifice a ton with this Boston Celtics team, and they're able to win a championship. It's not easy to do. So I will be going with Jason Tatum, especially 26. Going to be 27, if I'm not mistaken, this upcoming year. Correct. I mean, this dude is going to be a face of the league for many years.
Yeah, Tatum has no idea how much he's impacted and changed my life. I'm going with Jason Tatum.
Yeah, I'm obviously going Jason Tatum as well. I think he's I think he's one of the easiest guys to build, if not the easiest guy to build around the league, given how versatile his game is, and has proven to be the number 1 option on a championship team. So very easy decision for me there. And two more guys, which I wanted to make sure to save these 2 guys last because of how either similar they are or their relationship. LeBron James.
LeBron James. James.
Oh, the season for you. Okay.
It's LeBron. It's LeBron.
Okay. Because there are a lot of people that will put AD ahead of LeBron for now, given his 2-way ability and like his mainly just because of his 2-way ability, but obviously, yeah, I'm taking LeBron too. It's the he's the leader of that team, the offensive engine. So yeah, I'm taking LeBron easily, but I know people disagree. That's why I wanted to make sure.
Yeah, I would agree.
Okay, cool.
I'd take LeBron.
Yeah. Last guy up, and this one is interesting. And Drew, I know you're a fan of both. So Joel Embiid.
I am a fan of both. I will say that. I do like Joel Embiid. I will say Joel Embiid's unbelievable offensively. This dude is insane with the basketball in his hands. He just needs to stay healthy. If he's healthy, it's not a conversation to me. I respect Joel Embiid. I think the answer is Joel Embiid. But who can I trust is going to be there in the biggest moment? It's going to be Anthony Davis. And defensively, it's not a huge gap. The gap, I think, offensively is bigger between the two, 1 out of 100. I think Joel Embiid's a much better offensive player than Anthony Davis is. But defensively, again, it's not a huge gap, but Anthony Davis is the better defender. If at 100, I'm going to be going with Joel Embiid. I respect him. That's an MVP in our league. And if he was healthy last year, I think he would have been on his way to his second MVP, truthfully. So I'll be going with Joel Embiid. I respect the hell out of his game. And I think that he gets criticized a lot when a lot of that is out of his hands. Injuries are the most unfortunate thing in sports, and he goes through them more than almost anyone outside of Kawhi Leonard.
Yeah, that's a great analysis there. The thing is, if we're talking about building a championship team, obviously Joel Embiid's the better player. When he's healthy, arguably a top 5 player in the league, but he's just, I feel like in the playoffs, I mean, like you said, it's tough to blame someone for injuries, but like we said, availability is the best ability, and AD has been one of the best playoff performers in our generation. But I think, MVP of the league, what definitely would have been in the conversation again this year if he stayed healthy. So I'm going to go with Joel Embiid.
The game is would you rather. It's not who's the better player. I would rather Anthony Davis on my team. Anthony Davis is someone who I trust far more in the playoffs. He's someone who he's someone who has been healthier the past couple of years. I think that I just trust Anthony Davis far more in the playoffs, which is what it comes down to it the most. Joel Embiid is a very hard player to rank. He's one of the more talented players in the league, if not. I think he's the best scorer, and that's including Luka. I think he's the best scorer in the league, even if he's a bit of a foul baiter, which I know some people are okay with. But at the end of the day, foul baiters are the ones that end falling apart in the playoffs, which is part of the reason why Embiid is a playoff dropper.
True.
So yeah, I would rather Anthony Davis on my team, and I'm not really thinking twice about it, to be honest with you. Even if I'm going to rank Embiid higher, on my list, but I would rather Anthony Davis.
I like that thought process, and honestly, I agree.
Yeah. Cool. So, that's a lot more Lakers propaganda than I thought I was going to get today.
Love that for us.
Yeah.
Love that for us.
Yeah, I'm going to need to brush my teeth a little bit. Given and maybe we our father's the one who gave us the Celtics fan, and so maybe we edit out this part when he watches, even though I don't think he's watching it live. So we'll see what we can do about that. Okay, so before we go, Drew, do you have any plugs for us?
No. I mean, if you guys are watching, first out, shout out to you guys. I appreciate you guys having me on the podcast. I always want to shout out you guys for bringing me on and just having me a part of the conversation. If you guys want to know more about me, go to Pick a Side Podcast and watch the podcast. That's all I can ask for. But again, shout out to you guys. Keep doing you, and I appreciate the invite.
Absolutely. And if I'm not mistaken, your ex username is First Responder Drew.
So my name is First Responder Drew. My @ name is @Handrew 5 A's.
Okay, yes. Got it. Okay, awesome. So give a follow to Drew. Like and subscribe to the Pick a Side podcast. Definitely one of my favorite podcasts to watch. Just a bunch of guys who just enjoy talking ball. So definitely enjoy that. But Drew, thanks very much for coming on the show. We always love having other creators on the show. Matt, always a pleasure having you on. But for now, just a couple of plugs on my end. First of all, check out the merch in the bio. I've done the past couple of weeks. Sports Fluent Printify is the website. If not, you can also click the link in my bio. Where's my bio? I made sure that I timed it perfectly on the banner. Make sure to follow All American Hooper on all social media platforms. That's all the same thing on Instagram, on Twitter, on TikTok. Make sure you subscribe to the @Sports Fluent podcast. And not podcast, the Sports Fluent channel on YouTube to catch every episode. We go live Tuesdays at 6:00. Make sure to follow @Sports Fluent on X, Instagram, and TikTok. Take a look at my column on primetimesportstalk.com. And one more plug tonight on the Sports Fluent channel, on this channel currently. The Hoopstorians podcast will be hosting the very first Sports Fluent Hall of Fame. All of us here at Sports Fluent put in our votes to Sports Fluent, aka Tony, aka Sports Fluent, to discuss who we think should be inducted into the Hall of Fame. That's every NBA player ever. So we'll be going over who we picked, and then he'll be revealing the top 5. So some awesome things to go in there on there tonight. Take a look at it tonight at 10 o'clock Eastern. So once again, for those of you watching, thanks so much for tuning in. For those of you who are waiting to a later time, thanks for watching again. This has been the All American Hoops podcast on Sports Fluence. Everyone else, have an awesome night.